Welcome rally fans to the production of the Zane Renken Rally by KulumaTv.com. Join me and my crew as we take you through this exciting day of racing. A special thanks to the Natal Motorcycle and Car Club, along with associated sponsors, landowners, rally teams, and you guys who make this all happen. Dean Riley, the helicopter pilot from South Coast Aerial Spraying, needs a special thank you for putting me in the zone to get the shot. We catch up with David Ledbetter in the service park.
Welcome to round 5 of the South African National Rally Championship. It's being held in the Natal Midlands town of Dalton. The whole farming community and people in the area have really pulled together to make this rally happen. We're with Tony Ball. Your Zane Renken rally has become a national rally, which is a huge bonus for the area. How did that come about?
Last year we had the Zane Renken regional rally, and it was very successful, and we thought, seeing we'd done all the spade work, we'd move it up to a national, and it's come together. The farmers have really bought into it fantastically.
All right, Guy Bottrell, how do you see this event? It is your home event. How do you see it panning out?
We've never really driven on these roads before. Yesterday doing shakedown, it's incredibly technical. I think it's going to be a very tough rally.
Now, Guy, you have a very, very busy weekend ahead of you. Can you quickly tell us what your plans are for the rest of the weekend?
Well, today we're racing in Dalton, and then tomorrow we're racing in Monza in Zambia.
You're second in the championship, and you've got a new car with a new engine. It's a 3-cylinder, 1-litre turbo petrol. How's your development program coming along?
Ja, kyk, Dave, ons het aan die begin van die jaar 'n bietjie gesukkel met die kar. Ons het baie probleme gesit met overheating probleme en goed, ons het 'n bietjie tyd daar verloor, maar ek dink op hierdie stadium het ons baie reg gekry op die kar. Dis nou eers die eerste jaar en ek dink ons is op die 1600 se pace, so ons gaan regtig goed aan.
Chris Kutzer, you are embroiled in a very close fight for second and third in the overall championship standings with 3 rallies to go.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to get out of this weekend and points-wise, and where do you see yourself by the end of today?
Well, we're third at the moment. I'm not sure exactly of the points, but I know RC is about 9 ahead of us and JJ is not far behind. We want to be in the top 3 this year. We want to play it safe on this rally. These roads are very tight and technical, and I believe that there'll be an attrition rate. So we'll drive like old men this morning and see where we end up.
We're standing with Etienne Malherbe, one of the classic gentlemen of rallying. That's a polite way of saying old, like me. You've made a switch now from the driver's seat to the navigator seat. How does that come about, and what's it like for you making that transition?
Well, the agreement I had with Raj was that we will try and win the Classic Championship for this year, him being the navigator, and we are leading the championship.
By a long way.
But we felt that it would be an interesting switch.
Which is older, you or the car?
I think I'm a little bit older than the car.
So that's my ride for today. Meeting Denzel, and Dean Riley is the pilot for today. Stage 1, and we're away in the helicopter.
The Zane Renken Rally was rather unusual in that it was just a one-day event. Short, compact, very fast, but the person running first on the road, in this instance Jono van Wyk and Barry White in their Ford Fiesta, would have the dubious honour of sweeping the roads for their competitors. The detritus one finds on the rally stage includes rocks, gravel, sticks, tree stumps, sugarcane leaves. They had to sweep all of that away. It's generally regarded as being a massive disadvantage to run first on the road, and your day is doomed from the word go. So it was somewhat surprising to find after stage 1 times were issued that Van Wyk and White had in fact won the stage by 1.9 seconds and taken the immediate lead. It turns out that the others were hampered by thick, choking dust. Secunda driver, AC Potgieter and navigator Nico Swartz had their Dekamuzi Volkswagen Polo up into a very strong second place early on. They came out all guns blazing, rearing to take the fight to all comers. Shy of nobody, scared of nobody, and they duly swept to second fastest time, 1.9 seconds adrift of the lead. Reigning South African Rally champions Guy Bottrell and Simon Vasey Lyle had their Toyota Gazoo Racing Etios well on the boil. Having escaped the dust of the forests and the sugarcane, once they got into open land, they really put the hammer down, limiting their time loss to just 2.7 seconds. With the top 3 cars separated by just under 3 seconds, another epic fight was in prospect over the remaining 10 stages, all within 3 seconds. The leading KZN runners were Clyde Challenor and Graham Bishop in their Volkswagen Polo.
Johan, we saw you in stage 1 and you looked to be on the edge of control coming past the dam. You were airborne sideways on opposite lock and we thought you were going to park it in the dam for a quick car wash. What happened? How in control were you?
It was all planned. But we were lucky, we just kept on and fortunately the car went on, so it was a bit scary, but all good.
Matthew, not an ideal start to your rally. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, the stage 1 started alright, so we were going pretty well, and then about halfway through we started getting a warning, and when I looked down it was the alternator not charging, so it seemed like we had a bit of an issue with the cable.
They may have the smallest engine in the field, but that didn't stop Potgieter and Swartz from winning stage 2 by a very narrow 1.1 seconds and taking the rally lead by 1.9 seconds. Van Wyk slipped down to 3rd place, but still only 3.3 seconds off the lead, while Guy Bottrell took 2nd place, 1.9 seconds behind Potgieter. 4th place, already a minute behind, was Chris Kutzer and Greg Godrich in their Mazda 2. Kutzer said at the start he was going to drive like an old man, and I guess he was living up to his word. Strauss wisely took a more measured approach to stage 2, while JJ Potgieter and Tommy du Toit couldn't find a rhythm. Michael McGregor and Tommy Kutsia retired in stage 2, their Polo falling out with broken suspension. Wedlinghuis and Eamon Meyiwe were well up to speed in their KZN regional class S4 Volkswagen Polo.
Every so often we would set the helicopter down, catch up with the ground crew on what's happening, and then set off again. Right, we're heading off to stage 3 now. Dean Riley could fly this bird in any direction, up, down, sideways, backwards, all at Tiptronic speed.
The fight for the lead became even more intense when Bottrell became the 3rd different stage winner and the 3rd different rally leader in stage 3. He beat Van Wyk by around 5 seconds. The Toyota driver was inch perfect, kissing every apex and keeping the car out of the scenery. Van Wyk really had the Fiesta's accelerator welded to the floorboards, using all the road and more. He ran wide a couple of times, dropping a couple of tenths, but it didn't really matter at the end. When he stopped the clocks, he was 3 seconds faster than AC Potgieter. Although he was in 3rd place, he had closed to within 0.3 of a second. The fight for the 2nd and 3rd steps of the podium was really hotting up. After Van Wyk took 2nd place and Potgieter 3rd by 3 seconds, Van Wyk was now only 0.3 of a second behind Potgieter and Swartz. JJ Potgieter, who incidentally is the cousin of AC Potgieter, is a farmer from Mpumalanga. In this little family feud in stage 3, AC beat JJ by 2 seconds. JJ, the farmer, was battling to find a rhythm throughout the event and was a little off-key, off-colour, not quite there. He did, however, hang on to 5th place in the overall standings. When we chatted to JJ at service, he admitted that he didn't really have a rhythm. He wasn't really comfortable. The open cane fields suddenly giving way to tight and twisty and narrow forest stages. He was really taking strain. Dean Riedlinghuis and Amon Mayiwa were having a great scrap with their fellow Natal rallyists Clyde Chancellor and Graham Bishop and Brian and Ashley Scott, each one hoping to become top dog in the KZN field. Oh, but what's this?
Stop right on the inside, on the line. I'll follow his track and I'll also rip a wheel off.
Dean Riedlinghuis, I believe your own rally that you created has stumped you. Can you tell us a bit about it, please?
Now, what happened was we did this event before, but in reverse, and it was a muddy patch. And coming in, I was pulling up the handbrake, and I hit a tree stump with the left rear and bent the stub axle. Today, in a separate direction, I hit it with the front right and ripped the right front wheel off. So I'm actually purchasing that stump from the farmer, and it's becoming a mentor in my bar.
We came around this right 6 over here. Unfortunately, we didn't see a tree stump on the inside. Hit it, ripped the wheel off, we out. Game over.
On to stage 4, and Van Wyk still had the hammer down. He beat AC Potgieter by 3.4 seconds and moved into second spot. Bottrell won stage 4, but it was anything but clear cut. His winning margin only half a second. He still had a lot of work to do if he wanted to win this rally. Matthew Vasilyle and Skulk van Heerden were back in the game in their Fragrant Tools Toyota Etios. In spite of picking up a 5-minute penalty, they were still running as hard as they could, setting the 4th fastest time in stage 4. AC Potgieter wasn't giving up second place without a fight, getting his car airborne sideways over a jump in stage 4. He was really on it and wanting that second place badly for his championship hopes. Potgieter though was only 3 seconds behind, and with plenty of mileage left, it was anything but game over. Chris Krutzer and Greg Godrich zoomed their Mazda 2 to the 5th fastest time in the stage and held on to 4th overall, albeit over 1.5 minutes behind the leaders. JJ Potgieter and Tommy Dutoy were still taking strain in their Marveld Agrochem Ford Fiesta, setting only the 7th fastest time and holding 5th overall, now over 2 minutes behind the leaders. Rory Eland and Robbie Kutsia were leading the open class in their Subaru. Back in the early 2000s, there were 18 of these 4-wheel drive monsters running around in the National Rally Championship. Strauss held station in the open class while Nati Boysen continued to lead the classic class. Dean Riedlinghuis was back in the action, having missed a stage and picked up a 5-minute penalty, but at least his car was mobile again with all the wheels attached and pointing in the right direction. Raj Jatley and Etienne Malherbe were holding second place in the classic class. Nati Boysen and Johan Smit in their Ford Escort Mark I was having a great fight with Ashley and Les McKenzie in a similar, very old Ford Escort Mark I. Ryan and Ashley Scott in their Scottish plant hire Volkswagen Polo were running strongly in the Natal regional class. Etienne Malherbe was proving masterful at telling his left from his right, giving driver Raj Jatley the correct directions. Van Wyk was now in a comfortable second place, 30 seconds ahead of AC Potgieter and Nico Swartz. Bottrell really had the throttle pinned to the floor and set another fastest time to extend his lead to 39 seconds. Van Wyk was also in a hurry. He knew Potgieter was back in the game and hunting him down. Kurtz and Godrich were again 5th, some 4 seconds behind JJ Potgieter and Tommy Dutoy. Eland and Kutsia set a spectacular time to take the second fastest time in stage 5. Johann Strauss and Zane Venter in another Subaru Impreza were second in the open class, again taking things fairly easy after their stage 1 fright. Dean Redlinghouse was back in the action. At least his car was mobile again with all the wheels attached and pointing in the right direction. Raj Jutley and Etienne Malherbe were holding second place in the classic class.
Stage 6.
Bottrell really had the throttle pinned to the floor and set another fastest time to extend his lead to 39 seconds. Van Wyk was also in a hurry. He knew Potgieter was back in the game and hunting him down. It's a risky business cutting corners like that, but it landed him with a 25-second lead.
We're about midway through stage 6. This is a repeat of stage 1. We're standing at a very fast downhill section which has 3 jumps, so the action should be pretty spectacular. Results after stage 5 is Guy Bottrell and Simon Vasey-Lyle in their Toyota Gazoo Racing Etios are in the lead by 16.3 seconds, ahead of Jono van Wyk and Barry White in their Swazi Cowboy Ford Fiesta. Arcia Potgieter and Nico Swartz have dropped to third place after they picked up a puncture in stage 5 which cost them around 30 seconds. Matthew Vasey-Lyle should have stayed in bed because after his alternator problems and retirement and his 5-minute penalty, in stage 5 he had a spin, a stall, the car wouldn't start and they had to push start the damn thing. Luckily it was on a downhill or he would have retired for the second time today.
Dr. Raj Jutley, who by the way is the FIA's main medical man for the Safari Rally in Kenya, and co-driver Etienne Malherbe were still treating their Datsun 160U with the respect an old lady deserves. The Scots were still racing hard to be the top KZN crew, but at the moment that honour fell to Paulo Gouveia and Ashley Eddy. Marty Boyson and Johan Smit had decided to back off somewhat. They had a very slender 6-minute lead in the classic class.
Stage 7, through the timber forests.
With the 39-second lead, Bottrell could afford to ease off somewhat. This let Van Wyk win the stage by 1 second, while Potgieter had no option but to try as hard as possible. Keep going in the vain hope that something may happen to those ahead of him.
Right, stage 8, here we go.
Now we're singing about our money and we're rapping about our bands. You want music's definition, then I'll tell you what it is. It's rolling in the women hiding behind my...
The racer's instinct was still alive and well and living in Bottrell's right foot. He had the luxury, given his 38-second lead, of being able to ease off over the rougher bits and put his foot down when the road opened up and became smoother and faster.
With your compromise with my posse. Yeah, I'm a rap star, now I'm a rock star, a silly pop star. Oh yeah, I'm a rap star, now I'm a rock star, a silly pop star.
Potgieter and Swartz continued to chase hard. They set the fastest time in stage 8, which was a 14-kilometre stage. Sadly for them though, the winning margin was only 0.6 of a second, and it made not one iota of difference to their 66-second deficit to the lead. Chris Kutzer and Greg Godrich had their Mazda nicely on the boil. They were still holding 4th place overall, albeit 2 minutes away from a podium position. They were comfortably 45 seconds ahead of 5th place JJ Potgieter and Tommy Dutoy. Potgieter is a significant financial contributor to SA Rallying and is also the driving force behind the new for 2020 regulations, which sees the introduction of an R4 class, a 1600cc four-wheel drive car.
Stage 9 and the end is in sight.
Van Wyk and White took another stage win, 2 seconds ahead of Bottrell and Vasey Lyle. They were only 1/10 ahead of AC Potgieter and Nico Swart. The rest of the field were pretty much settled in their positions. The only real fight going on was between JJ Potgieter and Rory Eland. They were separated by 11 seconds.
Stage 10 about to start.
In case any of Bottrell's rivals thought or hoped that he had nodded off behind the wheel, he slammed in at fastest time, 14 seconds quicker than anybody else, opening his lead to 51 seconds in the penultimate stage. It was a masterclass piece of driving, or maybe he was just in a hurry to catch his helicopter to Durban Airport. Rory Eland and Robbie Coetzee were second fastest, followed by Van Wyk and White and Potgieter and Swart. It didn't affect the overall standings. It was very much situation normal, with Eland still leading the open class.
Stage 11 and it's flat out to the end.
We interviewed Bottrell at the end of the rally. He was unaware that Potgieter had fallen out. He therefore became the 2019 South African Rally Drivers Champion. And if you're wondering, he made it to Monza in Zambia and won that rally as well.
Wrapping up the Zane Renken Rally for 2019, we're with the winner, Guy Bottrell. It's his 4th win out from 5 rallies this year. Guy, you made that look very easy, and it never is, I know, but how was your rally?
It's never easy. There's always blood in the boots or something wrong, but we managed to get the car to the end. The crew did a fantastic job. The Natal Rally Club did a fantastic job. Very technical stages, very difficult, you know, in the trees and very narrow, very easy to rip a wheel off like some people did. So, you know, we're quite glad we got the car to the end. It was a bit hard on the cars, but we managed to get through. So really chuffed, and it's really good for the championship. We need to add some sums up quickly now and see how we are faring. But certainly taking the pressure off. I don't think we need to win anymore to win the championship. So a little bit of a breather, but like you said, the fat lady hasn't sung, and we still got to do the business in the next 2 rounds.
Second overall is Jonathan Van Wyk and Barry White. Unofficially, we're still waiting for final confirmation. Jonathan Van Wyk looks very happy, and but he's had a few challenges along the 146 kilometre 11 stage route. Second.
Well, we were opening up the route today, so it was very slippery. We opened all the stages. First car on the road.
Achieved your objective. You wanted to finish on the podium on the rally as well as maintain your 3rd place in the championship. You have achieved both objectives. How was the rally for you?
It was actually a fantastic event, Dave. Our main objective in the beginning of the day was to finish ahead of JJ Potgieter, our closest rival in the championship.
You'll close the gap quite dramatically to him in the overall championship with 2 rounds to go. Can you still do this podium?
We're going to go all out for it. If we can make second in the championship, that would be the highest we've ever finished. So that's the goal.